The Atlanta Braves are looking to win the series on a City Connect Saturday with Reynaldo Lopez on the mound. Here's your 15-minute scouting report for today's game. Yes, this is your Braves Today Scouting Report, a production of the Belief Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. I'm Lindsey Crosby. In the next 15 minutes, we're breaking down everything you need to know before first pitch. Today, it's the Braves and the Washington Nationals in Game 3 of their 4-game series. So let's get into it. Both teams have put out their lineups for the day. For the Atlanta Braves, a little bit of an adjustment over what you normally see here. Drake Baldwin leading off behind the plate, followed by Ronald Acuna Jr. batting second, Matt Olson at first base batting third, Michael Harris II, cleanup hitter in center field, Ozzie Albies batting fifth at second base, Dominic Smith gets a DH start today batting sixth, with Austin Riley at third base batting seventh, Mike Yastrzemski in left field batting eighth, and Jim Jarvis at shortstop batting ninth. Mauricio Dubon gets his first day off since June 2nd. This is probably more than likely just a rest day here. He's hitting 188 with a 424 OPS in the last 2 weeks. And again, hasn't had a day off since June 2nd. So my assumption here, until we know otherwise, is this is just a routine day off for Mauricio Dubon. On the mound for the Braves, Reynaldo Lopez, 4-3 with a 3.64 ERA. That's supported by a 4.62 expected ERA and a 4.33 fielded independent pitching. 21.6% strikeout rate, slightly below average. 9.5% walk rate, slightly below average, right? Pitch mix here, he is still just throwing 4 pitches, right? Four-seamer, over 50% usage, sits around 94 or so. Sliders in, close to 85. I'd love to see him get a little bit more velo on that. It's hard to hate a gyro slider that is 85 miles an hour or harder. Curveball, much slower than your average curveball, coming in about 74 miles an hour. And he dabbles in a changeup at 84. Part of me wonders, it's not a movement thing. The movement profile is not that good compared to a normal changeup. A lot less drop than usual, a lot less arm side run as well. It's really just there for the velo difference. I wonder if there's a way to tweak that and improve it just a little bit. Things to watch for with the Reynaldo Lopez start. I'm going to kind of do that now before we get to the Nationals lineup. Raylo has an first inning ERA of 7.36, and opponents are hitting 380 off of him. The first time through in general, he kind of struggles. 333 batting average, 384 on base, 544 slug, ERA is a 540. The second time through, it drops to an OPS of just under 600, and the ERA is 211. He has to settle into the game. And obviously there's a little bit of weirdness here because of being in the bullpen a little bit. But still, this is something where if he can get through the lineup the first time, and especially the lefties, that's where you feel okay. He's faced 171 lefties this year. He's walked 28 of them. He's walked one of the 135 righties he's faced. So a weird kind of, righties have a much better batting average, but a much lower on base than lefties get because of the free passes. And Washington's lineup obviously is kind of configured, I'll get to that in a second, to take advantage of that weakness against lefties. And the real thing here that he's going to need to do is establish the fastball to lefties without giving up hits or walks, right? The four-seam fastball for Reynaldo Lopez, whiff rate is like 16%. Damage against the pitch is worse than you would like. He's got to be able to get ahead in the count to get to the slider or to that curveball. So fastball against lefties is probably the single most important pitch in at-bats for Reynaldo Lopez today. Okay. Guys to watch for in this matchup, James Wood. As kind of always here, you kind of have to worry about what James Wood is going to do against anybody. His line, he's 2 for 3 with a home run. CJ Abrams is 1 for 7, but that one hit, also a home run. The biggest concern, Luis Garcia Jr. He has 9 at-bats against Reynaldo Lopez. 5 of those are hits. He has just victimized Bryce Elder in his career. So really just kind of the top of the order for the Nationals. Just the top of the order. Be wary about the top of the order. Speaking of that order, James Wood leading off at DH. Luis Garcia Jr. at first base batting second. They're broken up by a righty and Dylan Cruz batting third. You then go back to the lefty and switch hitter stuff. CJ Abrams cleaning up at shortstop. Keibert Ruiz, the switch hitter, comes back into the game in place of Harry Ford. Dalen Lyle in left field batting sixth. You have Nasim Nunez at second base batting seventh. He's a switch hitter. Yorbit Vivas at third base batting eighth. And the center fielder is Jacob Young batting ninth. I almost said Danny Young, but he's a reliever for us, right? So it ends up being 5 lefties and 2 switch hitters. And again, righties have a better batting average, but lefties have a much better on base against Reynaldo Lopez. So we'll see what happens there. Starting, on the mound for the Nationals, and from what I can see, not going to have an opener today, Miles Mikolas. 3-7 with a 5.65 ERA, and Mikolas has been pretty bad this year. Again, 5.65 ERA. The fielding independent pitching is 5.66. It's right there with his actual production. The expected ERA is 5.19. He quite literally has a first percentile strikeout rate of 12%. And that is because he has a first percentile whiff rate of 14.4%. He does have a 99th percentile mustache rate. It's a great mustache. It really, really is. I'm never not going to recognize a great ginger mustache. The one thing that he is legitimately elite at, I'm making the joke about the mustache, 95th percentile walk rate of 4.8%. He does not give out free passes. He is filling the zone. He is giving you the opportunity to put these balls in play. He's better than average at getting ground balls. 70th percentile, 46%. But this ends up being a matchup. There's going to be a lot of balls in play. It's a 6-pitch mix. If you're a lefty, you don't have to worry about that sweeper. A lot of opportunities to get batted balls. And the thing here, the ERA is so good because for Miles Mikolas here, he's worked as an opener, behind an opener sometimes. And when he does that, it's like a 3.75 ERA. As a starter, it's an 8.36. His whip is a 157. The OPS is like 904. So the path here for success against Miles Mikolas is don't wait around for walks, hunt the fastballs in the zone. 4-seamers, opponents slug 431 off of it. Sinkers, opponents slug 500 off of it. His best whiff pitch, I say with quotation marks, is the slider, and even that's below 20%. You're going to get a lot of balls in play today. Take advantage of your speed, take advantage of the questionable defense, and do this. There's no real difference between lefties and righties. They're all successful against Mikolas. It doesn't really matter there. But something to pay attention to, the second time through the lineup is really when he struggles. So as soon as you can turn that lineup over and face him again, and he's facing the likelihood of needing to change his already poor sequencing to adjust to facing hitters a second time, that's when the damage and everything inflates. Second time through, 10 homers in 15 innings. It's a 14.40 ERA. It's a 7.91 slug. That's a very, very small sample size, 15 innings. But the point is, like even the ERA, 14.40 ERA, it's 11.83 FIP the second time through. He does not have the tools at this stage in his career to face a lineup multiple times. And so part of the reason for a while they were using an opener was so that he didn't have to face the top of the order until the fourth or fifth inning. Well, if Atlanta has enough success on these batted balls, you could bring those guys around to start the third or even in the second. And you should be able to blow the game open here. The way that he attacks these hitters, I do want to talk about this. And it's important to point out, overwhelmingly, his first pitches are strikes. Because again, he barely walks anybody. So you're going to have a lot of stuff in the zone. Against lefties, the two most common pitches are four-seam fastballs. 28%, early in the count, 27% is four-seamer, 22% is sinker. So good chance it's going to be in the zone, and it's going to be some sort of fastball on the first pitch. Against lefties, the only real adjustments he does, when he's ahead in the count, he cuts back on the sinkers to ramp up the changeup. And then when he's behind, he drops that changeup usage to throw more sinkers. Only real adjustment. Other than that, the sequencing is the sequencing, and that's what he does all the time. So kind of simpler game plan if you're a lefty, although you do have to face the fact that he is going to throw 5 different pitches. The only thing you're really eliminating from the profile is the sweeper. Because again, I say it every time we face a sweeper guy. Sweepers have the worst platoon splits of any pitch in baseball. So it's a true 5-pitch mix. The only thing you can really eliminate is that sweeper if you're a lefty. If you're a righty, it is still a 5-pitch mix because he's not really throwing that changeup. He's taking that out of the equation for you. And it's a little more variable of a mix. Sinker slider is going to account for about 60% of what he does to open an at-bat. He does ramp up the sweeper when he's ahead and with 2 strikes, which is a common expected adjustment, right? And he does minimize the sweeper and minimize the curveball when he's behind in favor of sinkers. Another common adjustment. Something weird that he does, though. When he gets to 2 strikes, he cuts back how many sliders he throws, which is not really what I expected, given I had the stat earlier, the slider is his best swing and miss pitch. So not only does his stuff on its own not generate enough swing and miss, he also doesn't optimally use it. It's not just a stuff issue, it's a sequencing issue. There you go. Like Miles Mikolas, and I keep saying, I don't know if it's Mikolas or Mikolas. I assume it's Mikolas. I don't know at this point, and I'm too afraid to ask. But either way, he's a hittable pitcher, and if everything goes well for the Braves, you should not have to see him long enough in this game for how to pronounce his name to actually matter. Several Braves have seen him a lot, and they've had success against him. It kind of depends on what the success looks like, right? Like Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, they have batting averages in the low 2s, but they've both homered against him. Austin Riley, 350 average and a homer. So you have to think that if Austin Riley is going to, if you can have a get right game at this point in the season, when you're this many games back, this could be a get right game. Michael Harris, 13 at-bats. He's hitting 385, which if my math is right, that's 5 for 13, I think. The counterpoint here, Ronald Acuna Jr. in 22 at-bats is hitting 182. Don't quite know what's going on there. I'd love for Ronald to kind of right those wrongs today and just start the game, ideally, since Baldwin's leading off, start the game with a 2-run home run. That would be super nice. The bullpen status for both teams is actually really good, right? Shout out to Eliezer Hernandez. Thank you for your service. Thank you for resetting the entire pin yesterday. He ate a DFA for his trouble. You absolutely hate to see that, right? He got his first win in 4 years last week, got DFA'd the next day. He got his first career save last night, got DFA'd. But when you're restricted on how many pitchers you can carry, that is the kind of situation that happens. Atlanta wanted some length in case this game went to extras. They didn't get length out of Raylo and all that kind of stuff. So Victor Medeiros is going to be the long man today. They called up James Karinchak, was the replacement for Eliezer. But honestly, just based solely off of pitch counts, it's hard to see where anybody absolutely will be down today. A lot of guys, 4 different guys are coming off back-to-backs on Wednesday and Thursday. Just hard to see where, I imagine you're going to try to have guys that you want to hold out if at all possible. But I think if push comes to shove, everybody's available today. You've only got today and tomorrow. You're off on Monday. They all had off yesterday. So I imagine it's all hands on deck here for the last 2 games of the series. It is a similar situation for Washington. They had Trevor Williams eat 63 pitches last night. So he's going to be down today. Obviously, he's not pitching until probably Tuesday. But the entire rest of the pen got a reset. Maybe Carson Palmquist gets a second day after throwing 30 pitches on Thursday. The pitch count itself isn't that bad, but he's still in the process. Like, he's still a starter at heart that they're kind of working into relief. And they were some high stress innings, right? So it's possible he gets an extra day off. But outside of that, Nationals should have the full pen. They should have everybody available for today's game in hopes that if they have a chance to avoid losing the series today, because a 4-game set, they've already lost the first 2. They've got everybody up. And if they do lose today, they should have most of the pen available to avoid getting swept tomorrow. And a final thoughts on this one. Again, I'm a little shocked they didn't go with an opener for Mikolas unless they changed plans between now and then. But Braves are an easy favorite here on the money line. Braves Today sponsor FanDuel has Atlanta at -164. Washington's at +150. The over-under is 9.5 runs. Okay. The turning point, the likely turning point here is Washington's first trip through the order against Reynaldo Lopez. Again, we're watching for walks to lefties. That's been the problem. And then that's followed by by Atlanta's second time through the order against Mikolas. If Raylo can avoid a bunch of lefty traffic on the bases early, and the Braves can get into that second time through the order relatively quickly, you got to feel good about the Braves coming away with the win, despite the fact that this Nationals offense is one of the best in baseball. That's your Braves Today scouting report. If you want the deeper analysis, the lineup breakdowns, everything behind the numbers, make sure you're subscribed to Braves Today. Enjoy the game. We'll be back after it with the postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta and today's 3 things over at bravestoday.com. Real quick, there is 2 questions in the chat I want to get to real quick. We don't normally take questions from the chat in the live stream, but there was 2 of them real quick. Somebody asked if we're going to see Ha-Seong Kim before today's game so that he could maybe be a pinch hit option. 2 things. 1, the rehab assignment is not up until the end of the day, so they don't have to activate him yet. And he physically is in the Carolinas. The Gwinnett's on the road. So that's reason 1 why we're not going to see him. But 2, once you submit the lineup for the game, the roster is locked. You can't make any roster moves after that point unless it's some sort of you're changing that lineup or there's an injury and somebody's going on the injured list. So that's not going to be the thing there. And somebody else asked, how many wins do I think the Braves will end up with? The Braves could go like a game under 500 the rest of the way and still finish with 90 wins. So my number is probably going to be 95. This can be a 95 win team. And this is completely off the dome. I haven't really thought about the full win-loss record projection here, but I'm guessing it's going to be something around 95 wins or so. I'll think more about that. We'll talk about that on the Monday episode of Braves Today, previewing the trade deadline. We'll talk to you guys after the game, again, with postcast over on Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta, and then we'll have our written game recap at bravestoday.com.